G'day everyone and welcome back to Chalk Talks. Today we're discussing ABS membership. I would like to preface this video by saying I am an apprentice member in the ABS, the American Bladesmith Society, and so therefore do not hold a position that would be commensurate with holding any of the tests that I'm going to be talking about today. This is going to be a three-part series, first part covering just general membership and apprenticing, and then we'll go on to journeyman and mastersmith testing. But it's a pretty comprehensive overall look into what goes into becoming an ABS member. And if you're interested in finding out about the full testing criteria and everything that the ABS stands for, you can go to the ABS website, which I will link in the description below and hopefully in a card above. And it'll have the full testing criteria and all that kind of stuff you can read for yourself. But this is just a kind of intro for those people who learn better through video and stuff like that, and coming from someone who's going through the process themselves. So in joining the ABS, it's a pretty simple process. All you have to do is pay your membership fees. You go to the ABS website, the application is there on the website, and you can apply to become a member. You can pay for, I think, 1 year or 5 years. The 5 years is obviously a cheaper option, but the 1 year is, going to be cheaper in the short term. But basically, once you've purchased your membership, you are an apprentice smith. You have the AS rating. Almost no one uses the AS in their, title or anything like that because it doesn't really mean anything. It just means that you've paid your membership dues. There's no testing requirements or anything like that. There's no requirement to know anything. You can literally be the newest bladesmith ever, and all you have to do is pay your membership dues, and you'll get your bladesmith, your ABS card, and a whole bunch of other stuff, and access to the forums on the ABS website as well. So it's really, really easy. There's nothing really to go through with that, but a couple people have asked me how to join the ABS, and that's the only thing you need to do. So as discussed, when you join, you reach the level of apprentice. Congratulations, you're now an AS in the ABS. Now, the apprentice smith, basically the reason it's titled apprentice is because you are learning. The whole idea of the joining phase is to learn and then approach your journeyman smith test. Unlike what some people have been led to believe, the journeyman smith test isn't like, the ultimate. Obviously, mastersmith is, but the journeyman smith is basically to show that you are at somewhat capable in comparison to people who are mastersmiths who are, beyond capable. So in the AS phase, you have a lot of learning to do, and so that's a lot. There's a lot of requirements and stuff like that for apprentices as much as there is for journeyman and masters. So we're going to start off with apprentice, but obviously the 3 steps being apprentice, journeyman, and master are there for showing different levels of capability, right? So you are, incapable, or learning, moderately capable, and then obviously you are able to teach at the point of mastersmith. So you're the point where you have passed all of the facilities testing that they can provide for you. Any mastersmith you talk to, however, will normally tell you that they just began their knife making journey when they reached mastersmith. Mastersmith Niels Vandenberg, who came onto the Forgecast with myself and Alex Norton from Valhalla Ironworks, he actually covered his mastersmith testing. So if you're interested in hearing from the dog's mouth, if you like, about what the mastersmith testing was like and what he feels after going through that, go ahead and check that episode out. It's actually an amazing episode, and I highly recommend you listen to it anyway. But for now, we're going to forget these two, because those will be future videos, and we're just going to cover apprentice smithing. So once you've joined the ABS and you have your AS rating, there are a couple of things that you'll have to be aware of for when you want to actually go for your journeyman smith testing. The ABS is an internationally recognized organization, which means that you can be an apprentice smith anywhere in the world. For instance, I'm in Western Australia, which is a fairly remote location for the ABS to have members in, but there are a couple of members here in WA, as well as elsewhere around Australia. There are in South Africa and many parts of Europe. There are American Bladesmith Society members all over the world. There are some advantages to living in America, being a part of the American Bladesmith Society, and we'll get into those because it is quite important to being an apprentice. But basically, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can be a member of the ABS and you can be a functioning part of the community and of the organization. So don't let the idea of not being in America stop you from becoming an apprentice. The first requirement with being an apprentice is time. The ABS rates its years on Blade Show to Blade Show. So Blade Show, I believe, is in May or June in Atlanta, Georgia. It's like the world's biggest knife show. And it is where the ABS does a lot of its business. It does a lot of its testing for JS and MS. There is another one, I think it's the ICCE, where they do a lot of others. But Blade Show is kind of where it's at, and that's where they rate their years. So whenever you join, your membership fees are paid on January 1st, but the memberships are counted from that May to May area or June to June area for Blade Show. So when you join, the period of time up until that next Blade Show is basically excess time and is not counted towards your membership. Then you have 3 years before you can do your judging testing. And there are two different types of judging. There is the practical and the judging. The practical, for anyone who is not living anywhere near an ABS in education facility, which all of the education facilities around the world are listed in the ABS website. There are a couple internationally, including in South Africa. So if you're near one of those, you can do a class. For a person who can't reach those classes, you can do your practical after 2 years. If you have done an intro to bladesmithing course with the ABS instructors at an ABS registered location, like I think it's the John Black or James Black school in Arkansas, then you can do your practical after 1 year. So you can cut this time in half. The judging you cannot do for 3 years without doing the class, or 2 years if you do the class. And the reason for that is because the time is there to allot you some opportunity to learn, right? So the whole idea is that you have taken that amount of time from joining as AS, and they are assuming that you knew nothing when you started, right? That's the whole purpose of giving it this time, is that you literally joined, you didn't know how to make a knife, you've never swung a hammer at steel before or anything like that. And I understand that a lot of people joining the ABS will have had some experience, but it's better to start everyone off on the same kind of playing field and then let everyone move up as they can. So this time is meant to establish you as a bladesmith. It's meant to give you that time to practice by yourself if you're in a remote location like me, or to learn online, or to learn through the forums, or to find a class with the ABS or with another mastersmith or something like that to learn the basics of bladesmithing. Then once you've passed your practical test, which we will cover in a minute, then you'll go into your judging phase. And in your judging phase, you are required to approach Blade Show. You're required to go to Atlanta and present your knives to a panel of mastersmith judges to be judged. And we'll get to that in a bit. But you have 12 months from doing your practical to do your judging. So you can do your practical test, in July of 1 year and go to the next Blade Show and still do your judging. You don't have to do it like next to each other. That's something that a lot of people get confused on, and it's not required. You can just do it whenever it is available and then go to the next Blade Show to do your judging. So I've decided this video is going to be long enough without having to go into all of the criteria for journeyman smith judging, and so I'm going to do that in the journeyman smith video, which I'll be filming after this one. But as far as it goes, suggestions for apprentices from an apprentice. Having not gone for my JS yet, this is where I am most familiar, and I can tell you that this is all stuff that I have tried to do myself. The first one is get to a class. If you are in America, then obviously try and get to one of the ABS Intro to Blacksmithing courses or Intro to Bladesmithing courses, but any class will help. Any knowledgeable blacksmith or bladesmith is going to help you along your way, right? So anywhere in the world you are, normally there's going to be a bladesmith or blacksmith relatively close. And it doesn't matter if they're just a blacksmith. Learning how to swing a hammer at steel helps in any direction, especially if you learn some artisanal blacksmithing first. Forging blades becomes a lot easier. But that being said, any kind of education is going to help over just trying to learn it by rote or trying to learn it online. I understand some of you will be very remote, and some of you won't have access to classes, some of you may not be able to afford it, like myself. But if you can, do it. If you can't, I understand, try your best to engage with your community, which is where this one comes in. Speak to journeymen and mastersmiths, right? They are always open to questions. If you're a member of the ABS, you can message them on the forum, but obviously you follow them on Instagram. You probably already follow quite a few on Facebook and Instagram. Message them and ask questions. Message me, ask questions. Ask questions related to what you need to do, and tips and tricks if they can help you. If they're nearby, some smiths are more than welcoming into their shops and will let you come in and have a look at what they're doing. Some smiths won't, but if they don't, go to the next one. Right? There's always one out there. And in my experience, every journeyman and mastersmith I've ever reached out to has been more than helpful in pointing me in the right direction for, educational tools and stuff like that, books that I can read, tips and tricks on how to fix things and all that kind of thing. And then going to things like hammer-ins or, Blade Symposium here in Australia, which is held over in Canberra. That kind of thing is just absolutely, just amazingly helpful. You will learn so much just through osmosis, just through hanging around fellow bladesmiths, even fellow bladesmiths who may not be journeymen or mastersmiths, just other people on the same path as you, or making knives outside of the ABS, which is a thing that you can do. You don't need to join the ABS, obviously. But yeah, just learning through connection with others rather than just trying to make it your own way, which I understand is very tempting because we're all like, oh, we can do it. We're smart people, we can work it out. But nothing is better than engaging with the community and learning through other people and kind of trying things that other people haven't. And maybe they'll have tried things that you're about to try and tell you, don't bother. Sometimes it's worth listening. But the last one is the most important one, and it's one that I think a lot of people take for granted, is practice. Practice, 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 practice. And when I say practice, I don't just mean do the same thing over and over again. I mean challenge yourself, right? I mean take it to the next level with each build. Most of you getting started in the ABS, or most of you getting, started in knife making in general, are going to be getting started with maybe the idea of selling knives, maybe the idea of, making a business out of it. Don't. Start out with just trying to make the best knife possible. And do that every time, right? Give them away to your family members, sell them for a couple of bucks at a flea market or something, but every knife you make, just make it better, right? And just try one thing. Don't try and make the whole knife better. First off, make a full tang. Then try and make a full tang that has a tapered tang. Then try and make a full tang that has pin bolsters. Try and get your blade shape right. Try and get your geometry right. And practice those individual things rather than trying to practice the whole lot at once, because otherwise you'll get overwhelmed and you'll never actually get anywhere. Forge blades and then never finish them. Just practice your forging. Get better at forging, and don't worry about trying to polish the turds that may come off the anvil that, you accidentally missed a hammer mark or something like that. Pass that off as, gained experience and lost material. At the end of the day, practice is going to be your biggest friend, because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the outcome of that practice, right? Rather than the practice itself. So get out there, make things, and just keep trying to improve, keep trying to get better. Use any kind of facility you can. If you can't forge at home, go to a friend's workshop if you have a friend that has a workshop, or make friends that have workshops. But it is possible, and it doesn't take a lot to get really good at what you do. And tooling makes things easier and faster, but does not make you better. So if you can, you can pass Journeyman Smith with hand tools. Like, you can make everything for the JS test with hand tools, and there have been Journeyman Smiths who have done it. So yeah, keep that in mind. A lot of it comes down to skill and technique, and all the skill and technique is practice repeated. And obviously, a little bit of education doesn't hurt. So the next video is obviously going to be about the Journeyman Smith and Journeyman Smith testing. So if you're interested in that, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to hit the notification bell icon to be notified when I upload new videos. I'd really like to thank my patrons, one of whom was the one who suggested this video series. So thank you very much to them. And also, if you want to suggest more Chalk Talks topics, feel free to leave a comment down in the description below, letting me know what you want to see from me or what you want to hear from me. I'm thinking about doing a Forge design Chalk Talk, so if you're interested in that, maybe say yeah. But with that being said, if you want to join my Patreon, it'll be linked down in the description below. It'll obviously be left in the tags here as well. It's also in the end card. So if you want to come over and help support this channel and help me create content like this, then I greatly appreciate it. I hope to see you very soon. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and if you do, make sure to catch it on video and send it to me so I can laugh at your mistakes. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.